Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. Being kind to a narcissist is like giving water to a fire. It won't put it out, it'll make it burn hotter. Kindness is a powerful force. It can heal wounds, mend relationships, and bring out the best in people. But kindness alone cannot fix a narcissist. In fact, kindness, when given without boundaries, can become fuel for their manipulation. It's important to understand that a narcissist does not operate the same way emotionally as a healthy individual. They don't see kindness as an invitation to grow. They see it as an opportunity to control. When you encounter a narcissist, whether in a relationship, workplace, or even within your family, your natural instinct might be to approach them with patience and understanding. You might believe that if you are compassionate enough, if you love them enough, they will change. But that's the trap. Narcissists don't respond to kindness the way you expect. They don't see it as an act of goodwill. They see it as leverage. They see it as weakness. This is because narcissism is rooted in a deep sense of entitlement and a distorted self-immunity. A narcissist thrives on admiration and control. Their need for validation is insatiable, but it's not the kind of validation that builds mutual respect. It's one-sided. They want you to admire them, to cater to their needs, to make them the center of your world without them having to reciprocate. Now, let's say you show kindness to a narcissist. At first, they might accept it, even reward you with fleeting moments of affection or approval. But soon enough, they begin to test you. They start to take advantage of your kindness, pushing boundaries little by little. Maybe they disregard your feelings, ignore your needs, or twist situations to make themselves look like the victim. And when you confront them, well, they don't apologize. Instead, they gaslight you. They make you feel like you're overreacting, like you're the problem. They'll say things like, "You're too sensitive," or "You're imagining things." And if you persist, they'll either withdraw and punish you with silence, or they'll escalate the drama to make you feel guilty. This is why kindness alone won't work, because to a narcissist, kindness is just another tool they can use to control you. They don't see it as a reason to change. They see it as proof that they have power over you. So what happens if you continue being kind, hoping they will eventually appreciate it? You end up exhausted, drained, frustrated. You feel like no matter how much love and patience you give, it's never enough. And that's exactly how a narcissist wants you to feel. Because as long as you're trying to earn their approval, they are in control. But here's the truth. You cannot heal someone who refuses to acknowledge their own flaws. You cannot fix someone who believes they are always right. You cannot save someone who thrives on manipulation. This is where many people struggle. We want to believe that if we just love someone enough, they will change. But love isn't supposed to be a battlefield where you constantly sacrifice yourself for someone who refuses to meet you halfway. Love requires mutual respect, and narcissists don't play by those rules. So if kindness won't change them, what will? The answer is simple, yet difficult. Boundaries, self-respect, walking away when necessary. Because when you stop giving them endless chances, when you stop seeking their validation, when you stop playing their game, that's when you take your power back, and that's when they are forced to face something they've been avoiding their whole lives, their own reflection. You see, a narcissist relies on others to maintain their illusion of superiority. They need someone to admire them, to cater to them, to put them on a pedestal. The moment you remove yourself from that equation, their world starts to crumble. They panic, they lash out, they try to pull you back in with guilt, anger, or false promises. But if you stand firm, if you refuse to be manipulated, they lose control. And nothing terrifies a narcissist more than losing control. So don't waste your energy trying to fix them with kindness. Save your kindness for those who appreciate it. Save your love for those who reciprocate it. And most importantly, save your strength for yourself. Because the greatest act of kindness you can show yourself is refusing to let a narcissist define your worth. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful things you can do when dealing with a narcissist. Many people believe that if they just continue to be kind, patient, and understanding, the narcissist will eventually change. But what actually happens is quite the opposite. Narcissists don't see kindness as a reason to respect you. They see it as an opportunity to take advantage of you. The more you give, the more they take. The more you excuse their behavior, the more they push the limits. This is why boundaries are crucial, not just for dealing with narcissists, but for maintaining your own mental and emotional well-being. The problem is many people struggle with setting boundaries because they feel guilty. They worry about hurting the narcissist's feelings or coming across as unkind. But the truth is, setting boundaries isn't about being mean. It's about self-respect. It's about valuing yourself enough to say, this is what I will tolerate and this is what I will not. If you don't set those limits, you open the door for the narcissist to manipulate and control you indefinitely. Narcissists test boundaries constantly. At first, they might seem charming, charismatic, and even caring, but over time, they start to disregard your feelings, minimize your needs, and slowly chip away at your confidence. They do this in subtle ways. Maybe they interrupt you when you're talking, dismiss your concerns, or pressure you into doing things you're uncomfortable with. And if you don't push back, they take it as a green light to go even further. They will continue to take and take until there's nothing left of you but exhaustion and self-doubt. This is why setting boundaries is the only way to protect yourself. You have to be clear and firm about what you will accept and what you won't. If you don't want to engage in toxic conversations, walk away. If they try to guilt trip you into doing something you don't want to do, stand your ground. If they constantly disrespect you, limit your interactions with them. The moment you start enforcing these boundaries, the narcissist will take notice. But here's the key. Setting boundaries isn't just about saying no. It's about how you say it and how consistent you are. A narcissist will not respect a boundary that isn't backed by action. If you tell them, I won't tolerate being yelled at, but you allow them to yell at you without consequence, your words mean nothing. Boundaries only work when you enforce them. You have to show that you mean what you say by following through with actions. At first, the narcissist will likely resist. They might get angry, throw tantrums, or try to guilt trip you into backing down. They might accuse you of being selfish or cold, but this is just their way of testing if you really mean it. If you hold your ground, they will realize that their old tactics no longer work on you. This is what truly shocks them. They are used to being in control. They expect you to bend, to apologize, to keep the peace at your own expense. When you don't, they don't know how to handle it. One of the hardest things about setting boundaries with a narcissist is the fear of their reaction. Many people avoid standing up for themselves because they don't want to deal with the backlash. Narcissists are experts at making you feel guilty for putting yourself first. They will play the victim, twist the situation, and try to make you feel like you're the bad person for protecting yourself. But you have to remind yourself, you are not responsible for their emotions. You are not responsible for fixing them. You are only responsible for yourself and your well-being. Another challenge is learning to say no without explaining yourself. Narcissists thrive on arguments and manipulation. If you try to justify your boundaries, they will find a way to poke holes in your reasoning. They will twist your words, gaslight you, and make you doubt yourself. That's why one of the most effective strategies is to keep your boundaries simple and firm. You don't owe them a long explanation. A simple, I am not comfortable with that, or I won't be engaging in this conversation is enough. The moment you set boundaries, you will notice a shift. You will start to regain your confidence. You will feel stronger, more in control of your life. The narcissist will no longer be able to manipulate you as easily. And while they may continue to test you, they will eventually realize that you are no longer an easy target. They will either adjust their behavior, which is rare, or move on to someone else who is easier to manipulate. This is why boundaries are more powerful than kindness. Kindness alone won't stop a narcissist from crossing the line, but firm, consistent boundaries will. And the best part, once you master the skill of setting boundaries with a narcissist, you will start applying it to other areas of your life. You will become more confident in your relationships, your work, and your personal growth. You will learn to protect your peace without feeling guilty about it. At the end of the day, setting boundaries is an act of self-love. It's about valuing yourself enough to say, I deserve to be treated with respect. And when you do that, you send a powerful message, not just to the narcissist, but to yourself. You remind yourself that you are worthy, that your feelings matter, and that you have the right to live a life free from manipulation and control. And that is something no narcissist can take away from you. Self-respect is one of the most powerful forces you can cultivate in your life, especially when dealing with a narcissist. Narcissists thrive on control, manipulation, and the ability to influence how others perceive them. They expect you to bend to their will, to seek their approval, and to prioritize their needs above your own. But the moment you begin to truly respect yourself, when you stop seeking their validation and start living on your own terms, that is when you shock them the most. Narcissists expect people to cater to them. They build relationships based on dominance rather than mutual respect. From the moment they engage with someone, their goal is to establish superiority. They may do this through charm, intimidation, or subtle emotional manipulation. And as long as you play along, as long as you keep trying to please them, impress them, or prove your worth to them, They remain in control, but when you develop true self-respect, their entire game falls apart. One of the key elements of self-respect is confidence. Narcissists prey on insecurity. They look for cracks in your self-esteem, weaknesses they can exploit. If you constantly seek their approval or feel the need to explain yourself, they see it as an opportunity to manipulate you. But when you exude confidence, when you know who you are and refuse to be shaken by their tactics, they become unsettled. They don't know how to handle someone who isn't desperate for their validation. Another crucial aspect of self-respect is the ability to stand firm in your decisions. Narcissists are masters of persuasion. They will try to push you into situations that serve their interests, regardless of how it affects you. They will guilt trip you, gaslight you, or create drama to make you doubt yourself. But when you have strong self-respect, you don't allow yourself to be swayed by their tactics. You make decisions based on what is best for you, not based on their manipulations. Narcissists expect people to be emotionally dependent on them. They want you to rely on their approval, to feel anxious when they withdraw attention, to work endlessly to regain their favor. But self-respect means detaching from that toxic dynamic. It means recognizing that your worth isn't determined by their opinion of you. It means walking away from situations that drain you instead of trying to fix them. And when you do this, when you no longer react to their attempts to control you, it confuses them. They don't know how to handle someone who doesn't play their game. Setting high standards for how you allow yourself to be treated is another powerful expression of self-respect. Narcissists often push boundaries to see what they can get away with. They might insult you under the guise of just joking, dismiss your feelings as unimportant, or constantly take from you without giving anything in return. But when you have self-respect, you make it clear that you will not tolerate disrespect. You don't justify, argue, or beg for better treatment. You simply remove yourself from situations where you are not valued. This shocks narcissists because they expect to be the ones setting the rules. When you refuse to accept mistreatment, you take away their power. Independence is also a form of self-respect that unnerves narcissists. They expect you to need them, to depend on them emotionally, financially, or socially. They want to feel like they are at the center of your world. But when you are independent, when you have your own goals, your own sense of purpose, your own support system, they feel threatened. They realize they can't control you the way they expected to. And this forces them to either change their approach or move on. Self-respect also means refusing to engage in their drama. Narcissists thrive on emotional reactions. They provoke arguments, twist words, and create chaos to keep you emotionally invested. But when you respect yourself, you don't waste energy on their games. You don't argue to prove a point. You don't react when they try to push your buttons. Instead, you remain calm, focused, and in control of your own emotions. This lack of reaction unsettles them because it takes away their ability to manipulate you. There will be moments when the narcissist tries to test your self-respect. They may suddenly act kind, showering you with compliments to see if they can pull you back in, or they may try to intimidate you, making you question your decisions. But when your self-respect is strong, you don't fall for their tactics. You recognize the cycle and you refuse to participate. The most important thing to understand is that self-respect is not about proving anything to the narcissist. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about recognizing your worth, honoring your boundaries, and refusing to allow anyone to dictate your sense of value. Narcissists are not used to dealing with people who have this level of self-assurance. They expect compliance, submission, and emotional dependence. But when they encounter someone who is unshakable in their self-respect, they are left powerless. In the end, the greatest shock to a narcissist is not anger, not revenge, not trying to change them. It is simply respecting yourself so much that their presence no longer affects you. That is when you truly win. Narcissists thrive on validation. They need constant admiration, approval, and recognition to fuel their inflated sense of self. They craft an image of superiority and they rely on others to maintain that illusion. But the moment you stop seeking their validation, the moment you detach from their approval and stand firm in your own worth, you disrupt their entire world. Narcissists manipulate through a cycle of approval and rejection. At first, they shower you with attention, praise, or charm, making you feel special and valued. But over time, they begin to withhold that approval, creating a sense of instability. They make you feel like you have to earn their affection, their respect, or even their basic kindness. They do this to keep you hooked, to make you dependent on their validation, to make you crave their approval like a drug. This is where they gain control. When you seek validation from a narcissist, you give them power over your self-worth. You allow them to dictate how you feel about yourself. If they praise you, you feel good. If they criticize or ignore you, you feel anxious, desperate, or unworthy. This emotional roller coaster is intentional. It keeps you focused on them, constantly trying to prove yourself. But the harsh truth is that no amount of approval from a narcissist will ever be enough. They will always move the goalpost, always demand more, always make you feel like you are not quite good enough. And that is by design. The moment you recognize this manipulation, you take back your power. When you stop seeking their validation, they lose their control over you. You stop reacting to their mood swings, their silent treatment, their passive-aggressive comments. You stop feeling the need to prove yourself, to explain yourself, to earn their respect. Instead, you realize that their opinion of you does not define you. You realize that their approval is meaningless because it is not based on truth, it is based on their need to dominate. This realization shocks a narcissist because they expect you to be emotionally invested in their validation. They expect you to care deeply about what they think of you. They expect their disapproval to shake your confidence. When you remain unbothered, indifferent, and self-assured, they don't know how to handle it. They will try to regain control. They may suddenly act kind, showering you with compliments or attention in an attempt to pull you back in. Or they may lash out, trying to provoke a reaction to reestablish their influence over you. But when you refuse to engage, when you continue to stand firm in your own worth, they are left powerless. Detaching from their validation doesn't mean you become cold or uncaring. It simply means you stop allowing them to dictate your sense of self. It means you find your confidence from within rather than seeking it from someone who thrives on keeping you insecure. You start valuing your own opinions, your own judgment, your own sense of worth, independent of their approval. This shift in mindset is life-changing. It frees you from the exhausting cycle of trying to please someone who will never be satisfied. It allows you to reclaim your peace, your energy, and your self-respect. You no longer walk on eggshells, worrying about their reaction. You no longer alter yourself to fit their expectations. You simply live as your authentic self without fear of their judgment. And here's the most powerful truth. When you stop seeking validation from a narcissist, you open yourself up to genuine relationships. Relationships built on mutual respect, not manipulation. You attract people who value you for who you truly are, not for what you can give them. You create a life where your worth is not dictated by anyone else, but by the confidence you carry within yourself. The greatest shock to a narcissist is realizing that they no longer have control over you, that their approval or disapproval no longer affects you, that you have stepped into your own power and there is nothing they can do to take it away. Walking away from a narcissist is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. It is a declaration that you will no longer tolerate manipulation, disrespect, or emotional games. Narcissists thrive on control, and as long as you remain in their orbit, arguing, explaining, hoping for change, they believe they still have a hold on you. But when you walk away, when you remove yourself from their toxic cycle without looking back, you deliver the ultimate shock. Narcissists expect resistance, not silence. They are prepared for arguments, pleas, or emotional breakdowns. They want you to react, to fight for their attention, to beg for their approval. Conflict feeds them. It reassures them that they still matter to you. But when you leave without engaging, when you refuse to be drawn into their web, they are left with something they cannot manipulate: emptiness. This is why walking away is so difficult, but so necessary. It requires you to let go of the idea that they will ever change, that they will one day wake up and realize how much they've hurt you. Narcissists do not have the capacity for true self-reflection. They do not feel remorse in the way that healthy individuals do. They will never fully acknowledge the damage they have caused, because to do so would shatter the false image they have built of themselves. The moment you walk away, they will try to pull you back in. They will use every tactic they know: guilt, anger, promises of change, even sudden displays of affection. This is called hoovering. They may act as if they've finally realized your worth, as if they are ready to make things right. They may beg for another chance, saying all the things you wish they had said before. But this is not genuine change. It is a reaction to losing control. They are not mourning the loss of you as a person. They are mourning the loss of their power over you. If manipulation doesn't work, they may shift tactics. They might try to turn others against you, spreading lies to damage your reputation. They might play the victim, portraying you as heartless for walking away. They do this because they cannot stand the idea that someone left them by choice. They need to be the one in control, the one who discards others, not the other way around. This is why no contact is the most effective strategy. Cutting off all communication is not about punishing them. It's about protecting yourself. Every interaction with a narcissist is an opportunity for them to manipulate. They will twist your words, exploit your emotions, and try to pull you back into their chaos. By refusing to engage, you remove their ability to influence you. Walking away is not just about physically leaving. It's about mentally and emotionally detaching as well. It's about breaking free from the illusion that their approval determines your worth. It's about unlearning the patterns of self-doubt they instilled in you. It's about reclaiming your identity, your confidence, and your peace. The most liberating part of walking away is realizing that you don't need closure from them. Narcissists will never give you the closure you seek. They will never admit they were wrong. They will never sincerely apologize or acknowledge the pain they caused. True closure comes from within. It comes from understanding that you deserve better, from accepting that their behavior was never about you, but about their own unresolved issues. Healing after leaving a narcissist is a process. You may experience moments of doubt, of loneliness, of wondering if you made the right decision. But every step you take away from them is a step toward freedom. Over time, you will notice the weight lifting. You will feel lighter, stronger, more at peace. You will start to rebuild yourself, not as the person who is trying to survive their manipulation, but as the person you were always meant to be. And when the narcissist realizes that you are truly gone, that you are no longer waiting for them, no longer reacting to them, no longer affected by them, that is the moment they face something they have spent their entire life avoiding: their own emptiness. Without someone to control, without someone to feed their ego, they are left with themselves, and that is the one thing they fear most. So when you walk away completely. Do not look back. Do not seek closure from someone who cannot give it. Do not waste energy hoping they will change. Focus on your healing, your growth, your future. Because the greatest act of power, the greatest shock you can give a narcissist is showing them that their hold on you is over and that you are finally free. At the heart of it all, dealing with a narcissist is not about changing them. It's about reclaiming yourself. Being kind will never fix them because their mindset is built on control, not mutual respect. But what does shock them, what dismantles their power, is when you take back control of your own life. When you set firm boundaries, you send a message that their manipulation no longer works. When you build unwavering self-respect, you remove their ability to define your worth. When you stop seeking their validation, you break free from the cycle of approval and rejection they use to control you. And when you walk away fully and completely, you force them to face the one thing they cannot manipulate: your absence. A narcissist's greatest fear is losing control. Their greatest shock is realizing that they no longer have power over you. But this isn't about them, it's about you. It's about stepping into your own strength, recognizing your value, and refusing to let anyone diminish your sense of self. So stand firm, set your boundaries, respect yourself, stop seeking their approval, and if necessary, walk away without looking back. Because in the end, the greatest power you have is the ability to live a life free from their influence. And that, more than anything, is what will truly set you free.